Even when people are talking, I listened yesterday to the statement by the former vice presidential candidate of the CPC, where he talked about that IMF and World Bank cannot dictate to the way we run our economy. And I'm sure that such a statement, as strong as Tope is as an economist, is not what we need to say at this point in time. And I just have my reasons. In 2005, when we had all these problems with our debt and all those kind of a thing, what happened? Once a country is a debtor nation, what happens? You're under the dictates of some of these Bretton Woods institutions. And if not for the goodwill of then of President Obasanjo and the present minister, Okonjo-Iweala, where we had this $18 billion debt relief and all these other things attached to us.
But some people are also arguing in support that even after the debt forgiveness, what has actually changed?
Yes, this is
what has actually changed.
You see, I expect us to react. We shouldn't just react when the issue of subsidy comes. There are quite a number of things that Nigerians
the reaction we're getting right now from Nigerians, is it just about fuel subsidy or about the subsidy management?
I think I've heard the issue of course, one of the reasons, if we are going to be open to ourselves, Nigerians are saying, okay, fine. The president came out and said that quite a number of people have, you've had, there have been figures, even among the National Assembly members, we're also not getting the right figure. I wanted to know how much was appropriated for fuel subsidy in the 2011 budget. If they're saying it's $300 billion, and then we had spent 1.3 trillion. And the issue that actually infuriated Nigerians was the issue of saying what happened between $300 billion and the 1.3. Okay, so you have terminology now of is it cabalocracy or whatever. But the issue is, at this point in time, where do we want to have Nigeria in the next 2-3 years? I think we have to be objective.
That is the economic question we should be asking ourselves.
That's the economic question.
We're going to have Nigeria.
I want a situation where until you and I, Nancy, it's not all about, of course we can all go. For every right, let me tell everyone, for every right there is a responsibility. Exactly. It is your right to go on the street to protest. It is also your responsibility to listen to reason. Exactly. So that you don't go there to mess yourself up.
Now, we should listen more
Every one of us, including the government,
you understand? Because it's as if
we need to listen to reason.
Government officials right now,
on the part of we are looking at on the part of our right. But we're also looking at on the part of responsibility. I think this is where I'm getting worried.
We should be reasonable enough right now and say, okay, fine, guys, let's come to the table. Should the government right now say, okay, fine, we're reversing the price of fuel back to 65
I think government must be very
Wouldn't it also be taken as a sign of weakness?
I understand.
So I think that is where the government is right now.
President
Jonathan doesn't want to be seen as a weakling.
No, he's not a weakling. You see, I'm saying that it's a great opportunity for him to be a hero in this country. It's a great opportunity for him to also make some profound changes. I'm telling you that those people on the street, nobody is talking to them. Not their councillor, not their local government. No communication in this country. The government man shuts himself in his tinted car.
I agree with you. I was speaking with a friend yesterday. I said, President Jonathan is not just the president for Abuja. Why I said so is because I watch global events. I see, okay, the 2012 election coming up in the U.S. You can argue with me that Nigeria is not up to U.S. in terms of development or advancement.
Exactly.
But President Barack Obama goes in buses, goes to the villages and rural areas.
Let me tell you.
You see what happened at the jobs deal?
Nancy,
so why can't President Jonathan do so?
Tope had actually brought a point that actually that is why we have this problem now. It's not because of what they've done. Communication. The president also didn't help issue by the address on Sunday. Because in a crisis situation, you are the last person to be seen. I want a situation where the president
why do you think the president should be the last person to be seen?
We have 8. Yeah. Why do you have ministers?
Exactly.
Why do you have ministers? You have to have your guys. Yeah. I also want a situation where we need to have except those in government do not understand. That you notice my line of argument, I am quite objective. I want to remain that objective as long as this situation continues.
I'm actually so perturbed about that, because at the end of the day, I looked at the faces of those protesting. Labour is saying, okay, fine, we have to go, there's a strike and all that. Probably at the end of the month, there's a salary to get. But these private people, their businesses have been shut down for the 3rd day running. A lot of people probably in those rallies fend for themselves. So how do we begin to get back the economy running?
Yes.
Where should we now go from here? What's well-thought solution should we begin to proffer both to government right now and to Labour?
I think, well, in the first place, like I said earlier on, the first principle in a negotiation, for 2 days I was watching Samuel L. Jackson's The Negotiator about a week ago. And he said, never say no. So of course, like Chika said, we've had scenarios where they say, oh, the House of Reps, something is just their own personal opinion. In fact, we are not obliged to do, in fact, they are inciting the people. Up to today now we're hearing no work, no pay. Come on, come on. So that's why I say, if I psychoanalyze, see, there are many ways of writing history. There are many ways of understanding your leader. At times he's saying things that he's not really the one saying it. If I psychoanalyze President Jonathan, I don't think it's that reckless to be telling these guys to go and say these things. I don't think so. I think he's a grassroots man. He didn't have shoes, for crying out loud.
And that was why people voted him.
He knows that there are millions who still don't have shoes. In fact, there are more people who don't have shoes now than then. 160, 150 million. There are more people who don't have shoes now. Have you driven maybe from here to Lokoja and see those children on the road coming back from school who don't have shoes? So the point is that, now, so if I must say, if I must advise them, I'd say be the tactical recruit from wherever these forces are coming from. Because no sane government will want to undermine its own very existence and his own credibility with the people it rules. Now, wherever it's coming from, go back, do a tactical recruit, come back to us in 3 months. And they will sell it. Nancy, it's just a matter of communication.
Nancy, also really. To help Tope, I have heard this argument, the president never had shoes. And you know my stand, I'm a principled person. I've actually criticized the government in the past. But I have also, there's a mistake. Some of these protesters have actually, we didn't give the president said yes, he didn't have shoes. But we have given him the shoes. So we need to allow him to use the shoes to walk. You don't give someone shoes to stay at a place. So this is the time, like what we are saying.
He has too many shoes. Also, that's not the kind of shoes he was talking about.
No. Let's also be. Now we have brought a comic for laughter. But I think we have also used this thing for too long a time. This is the time for us to sit down. In 1981, someone mounted the leadership of Malaysia by name Mahathir Mohamad. Malaysia was more or less copying, imitating the 4 Asian tigers, China, Taiwan, then and co. But where is Malaysia today? He came up with the National Development Policy. In fact, they even launched their Vision 2020 in 1991. Where is Malaysia today? They said in 30 years, so by the year 2030, Malaysia would have been, or 2020, Malaysia would have been a fully developed economy. Where are we today? Today we have needs. Tomorrow we have seeds. Tomorrow we have leads.
Now we have
tomorrow we have coins. We have, what is it that we don't have? Policy continuation is a problem.
In my view, I think it goes beyond government and labor, also about the people. Some of the arguments that were proffered for those who are in support of this subsidy removal was that Nigerians had become lax and that they were too used to this largesse. Of course, I've read for you how cows are subsidized even in Europe and how people allege that it's better to be a cow in Europe than to be a human being in Africa. It's not me that it's in black and white here, but I think it's a fantastic opportunity for the government to anchor a few things. I tell you, the people at the very base of society, they are totally orphaned. Nobody cares about them. These people, where they live, the NEPA doesn't get there. They find a way of tapping it from one place and just putting it inside. There's no potable water. They just manage to scrape. There's a lot of disease where they live. Okay, so it's a great opportunity. I'd say again, government cannot run government alone. The people who say that our people are profligate and that we're relaxed and we're used to largesse, part of the problems, the people brought it upon themselves as well. But who has talked about the need to change our culture in any way or form? Some people, their mother dies, they're looking for 10, 20 million to throw a party, in this kind of country. But part of what we have also seen why the people are angry is because of the blatant display of wealth.
Among the elites.
Yes,
that's right.
I mean, I came into this country about a week ago, and from the airport to Abuja, I knew how many governors, SSG and all that convoy that ran me out of the road.
That's right.
So you see, the point now is if they are not ready to change their ways, now this is a top-down approach. Because it's difficult to tell the man down below to not, urinate on the side of the express road when he sees you in your own resplendent impunity So he also takes a cue from that and becomes, you know, also reckless on his own.
Now, what should be the role of the governors in all of this? Because at the end, I think we are avoiding. Yes, we are exonerated them.
Nancy,
we are looking at President John
Minister said they were the ones that called for this, but none of them is speaking up now.
Nancy, let me also tell you the funniest thing that has happened in the last few hours. The 4 naira subsidy by Amechi of River State, Governor Amechi. I think, yes, announced in a broadcast. That is the most, with all due respect, the most, I mean, if not the funniest thing. Let me remove most and put funniest thing.
Nancy,
this is not the right time.
How logical is that?
It's not logical. This is not the issue. That is not even what we should be discussing at this point in time.
You know, I don't believe that government should have even bothered with all that. It's not necessary. See, the government can.
It's not necessary to have a blueprint by the government to tell us that this is what they want to do.
You've got a budget, for crying out loud. Are you going to cede the government to Christopher Kolade to run? No, you can't. You've got a budget. The budget, everything is listed, all the programs, and it's not going to be a one-year thing. No government can keep on saying this. Any government that comes and says, I'll solve all your problems, is shooting itself in the foot. A lot of the problems will be solved by the people themselves. Even those people you subsidize, mind you. Oh yes, of course.
When the government
does not give us the environment, you take care of environment, it reduces the amount of diseases. One of the most important invention in health management system was the cleaning up of the water system in Europe. That was when you stopped to have all this bubonic plague and all those kind of things. If people take charge of the environment, they will. But nobody, see, I think there's a misconception about governance from the people who govern themselves. I said it before, you cannot be 4-man. You can't do 4 people's jobs. Fine, the fact that they voted for you and you have all the resources of state in your disposal does not mean you can do and undo. You're not God. So, you see, on the first place, so the people you subsidize, at times you subsidize the people to keep them alive in order to be useful, to keep them sane in order to be useful. China is 1.4 billion people today, yes. And that has become their strength because anything that's produced in China can be consumed in China. It's called domestic consumption. Okay? In the same way, we should not look at our people and treat them like vermin. The way things are going these days, it's as if really we have become so dispensable. Our leaders even look at us and say, who are these dirty-looking people? But that dirty-looking man can be a great resource.
That's right.
If you use him, everything is here.
In the midst of this crisis, we need to differentiate political agitation from economic realities. And at this point in time, it's also very important to realize that the oil sector is made up of 2 parts, the upstream and the downstream. We also need to begin to now ask to agitate from the National Assembly, why has the petroleum industry bill not been passed? It's no more a problem of the executive, it's a problem of the National Assembly. Until we realize that this is not a political agitation, as I've seen it, the labor should be very careful so that this process of emancipation is not hijacked by those who are offended one way or the other in their political journey. That is just my candid advice.
In my view, I would say that I'll urge caution on the part of government, I'll urge caution on the part of labor, and even on the part of the people. Caution, please. And I'll urge love and understanding. I personally believe that there's no difference between me and the next black person. I don't care where you're from. I don't see myself as a tribe, as a member of a tribe. I'm sorry. You know, and therefore, we should please take caution. Government should try and get to the negotiation table. Use less of incendiary words that will infuriate people. Labour should ensure that whatever is going on it does not go out of proportion. Even I'm appealing to our big men, the billionaires in this country, who have private jets that can take them out of the country in a jiffy, not to let this descend into what I think is almost happening now. Okay, where Muslims after Christians, Christians after Muslim tribes, you leave the south, this one says leave the north. It is despicable. They made their monies from this country, give or take. If everything scatters, yes, they may have bases in other African countries or even abroad, but the point is that they would have destroyed the soul of humanity, and that is what is at stake here. So I'll urge caution on the part of everybody, and I'll urge government to very easily diffuse the present tension and regain its pride and go back to the negotiation table. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for being on the show today. It's actually been very, very engaging for me. It is bringing me back. Because at the time, I was like, Nancy, am I also losing my sense? Because it seems that sense out there is no longer there. Anyway, right. But thank you. I think we should begin to be reasonable and look at the economic questions. We should begin to dot the I's and cross the T's where necessary.
Certainly, and again, it's a matter of the relevance of Nigeria to the entire Africa. Jerry Rawlings came and told us about 2 years ago, he said, until you guys wake up, the rest of Africa won't wake up. Everybody has said it. Therefore, a lot is on the shoulders of Nigerians. We should not let this fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Tope Fasua. Thank you, Mr. Chike.